Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome back. We are now doing Tafkeem or Tarqeeq Ra, where you get to choose which one you would like for it to be, Tafkeem or Tarqeeq, because we already went over the whole category of when it is Tafkeem, when it is Tarqeeq Ra, and now there's the category of where you get to decide whether it's Tafkeem or Tarqeeq. So there are certain words that are listed here that are not just the words by themselves, but they go with specific rulings as well. And the reason for these rulings are also because scholars are unable to come to a consensus on whether they should be Tafkeem or Tarqeeq. So therefore they've left it to the reciters to decide which one they would like. The first one is when you continue recitation on the word firqin, firqin. Now, the reason is because scholars say, well, qaf is a tafkheem letter because it's from khussa dakhd qid, but it doesn't have a kasra, so therefore it should be able to be tafkheem because the tafkheem letter is pulling the ra sound, so it's going to be firqin and it's going to be tafkheem. However, other scholars say, well, but if you were to stop on it, it would be a kasra on the qaf, therefore the word should be tarqiq. So therefore, because of that differing opinion, when you continue recitation, you are allowed to either do firqin or firqin, either way. The next one is when you stop on the word misr or al-qatl. Now this one seems like, well, we know that there's a rule. If there's a kasra with sukoon and a sukoon on the ra, then it's always going to be, remember, tarqiq. However, in this particular case, we are saying that the letter that is right there, the ta and the sad, are both isti'la, they're both tafkheem letters. So therefore, because even though we have a misr, like the kasra with the sukoon, we still have the fact that there is these letters that are tafkheem letters, and therefore the scholars say, well, maybe we should make it tafkheem. And so because of that differing opinion again, because we have a rule, but then of that exception right there, scholars say you can go either way, but only when you stop on those, right? Because only when you stop on them, the ra is going to have the sukoon. All right, so that rule only carries for those two words at that situation when you stop. The third is a unique word called asri, is the root word, that is the word. And because when you look at the root word, you see a kasra on the ra and a ya, makes you think tarqiq, right? However, when you see the derivations of the word in the Quran, which you will find in Surah Fajr, Taha, Dukhan, and Hijr, you will find them as an asr or yasr. Alright? So, when you see these words, you are going to pronounce them all either way, whichever way you want. You can pronounce them as tafkheem or tarqiq, and that does not have a stopping or continuation rule attached to it. So you can just say an asr or an asr, okay? Or yasr or yasr. See, when you pronounce tafkheem or tarqiq, right, you're giving it weight or you're giving it lightness. Or asri or asri, asri. When you have a sukoon on the ra, of course, you're going to hear the sound. When you see a ri, it's automatically going to be tarqiq, right? Same for this fourth, which is wanudhuri. The root word is nudhuri, and this is from Surah Al-Qamar, wanudhur, and therefore the scholars are also allowing us to do this either way. So these are just the root words that they came from. These are the words that you see in the Quran that you can apply tafkheem or tarqiq to it. And that brings us to the end of tafkheem and tarqiq and the rulings. So The last thing that we have not really spoken about as much is the levels of tafkheem. Levels of tafkheem are, even within tafkheem, we have within the tafkheem letters, we have the letters that are the most tafkheem and all the way to the least tafkheem. So let's go to those. The inherent tafkheem in them, right? From the one from most to least. Alright. And the most is going to be ta. That's why we say ta is a special letter in the Arabic alphabet, because it's the heaviest. And then we have ba. And then we have sa. And then we have va. Then we have qaf. And then we have ghain. And then we have kha. So the least is going to be kha right here. It's hard for me to write like sideways. Okay, so the most is ta and the least is kha. And this is the level as they go down. Ta, ba, sa, va, qa, gha, kha. As you're saying it, you can hear that level of tafkheem getting lower. Ta being the heaviest. Right? So this is level of tafkheem. Then we also have a different level of tafkheem where not regarding the letters themselves, but regarding mad with the letter. So when you have, I'm going to hold this so I can write it straight from here and hopefully do a good job writing on the board. The heaviest, again, is going to go on top. Okay? We're going to have, for example, when you have an isti'la letter, because of course all the ones that have tafkheem are going to be isti'la letter, well, just in this category. Remember, we have the exceptions. But for this listing, we're talking about all the isti'la letters. Remember, we just listed from the heaviest to the lightest, right? Starting from ta, going all the way to kha. Now, when we're doing this listing, we're also just going to be using just those isti'la letters, and we're going to give you the rules of what is the heaviest to the lightest with regard to how they sound when you see them in a word, right? Because you're not just going to see them floating around, you're going to see them in words with mudud on them. So first, the heaviest one is when you have an isti'la letter with a fatha followed by an alif. So it has the letter, let's just write the, let's see, I'm just going to put it like an I for isti'la letter, alright, with a fatha followed by an alif, okay, like that. So that's how it's going to be. An example is, for example, qala, see, fatha followed by an alif, qala, or we have another example, dina, fatha followed by an alif with a mad, right there. So when you have a fatha followed by an alif with a mad, that's really the heaviest, right? And same with qala. We know that qala has the inherent mad there. It has the mad where we pronounce it qala with a 2 times the pull, right? Same with khalidina. This is showing the 2 times pull. So these are the heaviest. Right there we have the heaviest. The heaviest is when you have an isti'la letter with a fatha followed by an alif. Alright, the second is when you just have an isti'la letter with a fatha. For example, sa, da, qa. Here's two, qa and sa. They're both fatha. All right. Then the third level, so this is level 1, this is level 2, this is level 3, is when you have an isti'la letter with a, you guessed it, a dhamma. So here's an isti'la letter with a dhamma. For example, qul. Qul, right there, or suhuf. Suhuf. So you have the sad with a dhamma or a qaf with a dhamma, that's level 3. Any letter, any isti'la letter. These are just some examples. Level 4 is where you have a sukoon on it, on the isti'la letter. Alright. Now when you have a sukoon on the isti'la letter, an example of that would be like yaftati'un. Oh, I get it. That's from another word. See, this is what happens when you get exhausted. You try and do 3 lessons, 30-minute session in one go. Yep, it's exhausting, but I have an exam tomorrow, so I'm hoping that this review really helps me, inshallah, and hopefully helps you too. All right. Yaqta'un. Right. That is a word. There you go. Yaqta'un is where you have the qaf with a sukoon, and this is an example of the 4th level of Tafkeem. Yaqta'un. That of course also has a, do you remember what it is? Qalba, right? Okay, and the 5th category right there is last but not least is when the isti'la letter has a kasra, like in the word qila. This is the heaviest to the lightest. Thank you all for watching, and hopefully this was helpful. Assalamu alaikum.